Everyone, it's Libby from Meister Tarot. Absolute pleasure to have you with me in New Zealand. So welcome. Lost a day there in the middle when we sort of landed in Brisbane, ready to do the transfer to international. The international flight was cancelled. This was at sort of 8 o'clock in the morning. So then had a whole day before we could take off. The following 24 hours before we could take off and come to New Zealand, due to 140-kilometre-hour winds at the airport on this end, so there was no way we were landing. It was bad enough 24 hours later when we did. Okay, what I want to have a look at in this particular reading is I want to have a look at the Russian military parade coming up on the 9th of May. What's that? 5 days' time. Apparently it's called Victory Day. Apparently Moscow has declared a 72-hour, 3-day ceasefire. Oh, it's nice for Moscow to call a ceasefire, isn't it? The ceasefire they called for Easter, they didn't honour at all. Anyhow, apparently Rubio's looking at attending. Oh, I'll have a look at that in a minute. So Waltz is out, as the card said a couple of weeks back. Waltz is out. He was the fall guy. It's not over by a long way. Absolutely not a long. And Rubio's now the acting. What is he acting? Looking at my notes. He was he still is Secretary of State, but I suspect Witkoff has actually got that role unofficially. But he's the acting National Security Advisor, and he has been invited to this Russian parade. So apparently 19 nations have been invited to attend. 10 of them have agreed, including the usual suspects like Orban, etc. I imagine Xi Jinping's possibly going. But there's a rumor going around that Rubio, the US are invited, and Rubio's going to attend. I'm not going to ask on that. I got a feeling he might not, because the optics are not good. Absolutely not good. However, so, and this was reported, actually, the Moscow Times has reported that Rubio will be attending. So we haven't heard anything official from the White House. I don't quite know what Russia has to actually parade, considering they've lost so much of their military. So what I want to have a look at is 45's Grand Parade on the 14th of June. He may not even. The military are coming out and saying there's no final decision on what's going to happen there. I get the feeling that 45 might not be in office by that stage. Marge has come out, MTG has come out and absolutely lambasted. Lambasted, is that the word I'm after? Absolutely vlogged the current regime. I've put a link to it in my post section. If you click on Meister Tarot and any video, it takes you to the main page and you'll see a little headline that says posts. I post a lot of news under there. So yeah, Marjorie's absolutely gone hell for leather at Felon 45. So he, I don't even know that they're just starting to tear each other apart from the inside. But I want to have a look at the Russian parade because, I mean, goodness me, what an opportunity for Ukraine to do something. Let's just put it that way, do something. However, the Kremlin has threatened that if Ukraine does undertake any attempted attack with the parade, that Kiev will not exist the following day. So I want to have a look. I keep getting that explosion, and I know there's a lot of explosions happening, like the recent one in the Iran port, but this explosion that is that was just Mum waving at me from the window, the big doors. If this explosion that I keep seeing is one that's really going to put the whole world back on its heels, and you'll know about it, and you'll know what it is intently. It won't be sort of a news snippet. It will be something major. So I want to have a look. Show me what's going to happen with the Russian military parade. The Russian military parade. How's that going to go? How's that going to go? Again, I didn't bring my stand, so I can't bring you down. How's the Russian military parade going to go? I mean, there's been an awful lot of passing of of Russian conscripts and troops, etc. I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to show the images of the 500,000 troops or whatever that have? Yeah, but let's see where it goes. Right, here's the parade. Nobody is cheering. Okay, I think what this is there's just been so much death and destruction that with the parade, um, those that are obligated to be there or feel that they need to be there will be there, but they're not cheering, they're not celebrating. It's not happening. We've got the Knight of Cups. It's an appeasement parade. Now I know it's a parade they've had every year for however many years, but it's very much an emotional appeasement parade for the Kremlin, the Putin figure. In the past, there is some surprise news. This may be, sorry, Mr. Kremlin, you can't have your um, big missile trucks or whatever they are and your 50 tanks and whatever because they don't exist anymore. So I think it's going to be a highly reduced parade because I think there was some unpleasant news about what the military can actually supply to the parade itself because if they're going to parade anything, they need to take it from the front line or from the reserves that need to go to the front line. Crowning this reading, we've got the and some sort of announcement being made of support. Now, this is my White House card, and wands being, for me, wands are about messaging, they're about plans, but is you got the White House in the background. Is there some sort of crowning this? The energy over it is some sort of messaging from the White House, but you've got in the background there the figures walking away. Okay. The immediate future, the star, being this, trying to balance the news about the star. You've got the little birdie. I'm really drawn to the little birdie in the tree there. The news. Okay. I'm drawn to the star with all the little stars around it. To me, this looks like, if I say, some sort of explosion or some sort of drone strike or something, while this figure in the foreground is distracted, trying to balance the physical and the emotional. Externally, having to go on the defensive. I'm just asking for the parade itself and the walking away. Feel like looking at what these cards are telling me. So internally, emotionally walking away, done and dusted. Um, but the fact that you've got this externally going on the defensive, trying to defend the position, I think there's going to be I don't think it's going to be a Ukraine attack. It might be an attack from within Russia. Hopes and fears. Uh, this parade historically has been very much about buoying up patriotism and Russian pride, etc. That's maybe the hope, but the fear is that the people rising up. Okay, the outcome. Insanity, lunacy. It's absolute lunacy for them to be doing this parade at this time. but it's a howling at the moon lunacy. Times have changed. The attitudes of the people have changed, and the ships have sailed in the messaging. The ships have sailed. You've got the women coming together. It's a nightmare situation. There's something being planned under the cover of darkness behind the scenes, something that's not revealed yet, amongst potentially the oligarchs. Because you've got to remember, the Russian oligarchs are starting to fall out of windows and off the back of yachts, etc. And oh dear, how sad! All their money now belongs to the government. And any oligarchs that are raising concern about how the invasion has drawn on for so long, that's going to be bringing an ending to the old legacy and the renewed. Okay, I want to have a further look at this before the rains come in. Is there going to be just quickly 3 cards? Is there going to be, well, as I split the deck, we've got the two yes cards, Temperance, and which is pouring from cup to cup, the dawning of the new day, or is it the sunset, as they try and spin this? And then we've got a collective awakening. Is there going to be some sort of uprising or attack during or near the Victory Day parade? Is there going to be some sort of uprising and or attack during the Victory Day parade period? Is there going to be some sort of uprising or attack during the Victory Day parade? I think that might be a yes. Yes. Let's have a look, see how bad it's going to be. I'll just do 3 cards. This was the second one that wanted to come out. Sorry, my hands are freezing. Trying to pick the cards up. The ship has sailed. So show me. And then you've got the emotional loss and disappointment on the bottom. And it's another yes card. Plotting going on. Secret plotting, hidden plans. And another yes card. Is this missiles raining down? Is it drones dropping something? Or is it just big message coming really quickly? I'm going to say yes, there is. From within Russia. I mean, it may be, no, I'm not even getting that it's Ukraine-based. So will there, yep, during the Victory Parade, there's going to be some sort of betrayal, heartbreak, loss, despair during the Victory Parade? Yes, there is. There's going to be. It's what the cards are telling me. I mean, the FSB might uncover it, but I think the people of Russia are also going to feel betrayed when they're sort of in lines around the block for a loaf of bread, for this money to be spent on the ego of just a couple of men. So will there be retaliation against Ukraine, not just Kiev? Will there be retaliation against Ukraine? collective awakening, a big wake-up call coming. I think this is defences are going to hold. And then we've got the Queen of Swords. Power of strategy. And then we've got the sun going down. The sun going down. Okay, let me just ask a slightly different way as well. So, no, I'm not getting there. There's no sort of destruction cards. There's no tower cards. Show me, will this... I'll tell you what my question was when I was thinking, when I picked that deck back up again. Is this going to draw the US regime? Is this going to give, basically it was, is this going to give the US regime an excuse to side with Russia? An announcement being made and a tower card. And I'm going to say that's a yes. So, oh boy, oh boy. Things playing out. I'm going to say that's a yes, but I'll double check. Is this attack or planned attack, potential attack, possibly even foiled attack on the Victory Day parade for Russia going to be the excuse that the US regime to side with Russia? Right, they're backed into a corner, and that's when they're most dangerous. So they're trying to find an announcement that they can make to get them out of that bruised and battered corner. At the moment, they're keeping a lid on it with that Queen of Cups because it's potentially opening up an absolute nightmare situation. And then we've got the Page of Swords, that somebody's going to leak this. We've got the stealing of the truth. And then we've got the Tower moment. And then we've got Russia. Tower moment for Russia. The agreement's going to be revealed, and boy oh boy, it's running for the doors and throwing each other behind as they attempt to get out. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, they are, but I think somebody is going to let it out. Now, that takes me to the somebody. I'm so cold, I might actually go into what I was going to read on in my next reading and just run through it very quickly. As on the ending of this one, Waltz, Tim Waltz. Tim Waltz? No, it wasn't Tim Waltz. We are talking about the other Waltz with a T in it. You know who I'm talking about. Who was the National Security Advisor, was the fall guy for Signalgate. However, that's what the card said who would be, but they also said he wouldn't, it would just really start there was more to come and it would start a domino effect and blah, 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 blah. I can't even remember. There's a photograph taken of when Waltz was, just before he was sacked, of him in a cabinet meeting of his phone. He had on his phone, they said, oh, it's the Signal app. And then when the experts looked at it, they said, no, it's not. It's actually an Israeli developed app called Telemessage that connects to the Signal app to archive Signal messages so Basically, whoever sets up the chat says, oh, I've set up the chat and it will automatically disappear in 24 hours, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, the whole chat. Well, this is an archiving system of where the chats are then archived to and stored. So even if it disappeared off the wherever else, there's still a record of it. So this is Waltz. This is the guy that got fired. Has this app on his phone. Now, he's been promised the UN position. Oh, gee, I wonder how Elise Stefanik feels about that, considering she was promised that position. But that has to go through Congress. Signal Gate's it's a long way from over, and I think Waltz has kept these apps and kept the archives of these conversations. Right, so is Waltz with a T going to, I'll just do it very quickly, I'll just do a Celtic cross spread instead of doing a whole reading on it. Is he going to come out? Is he going to release information about communications? The question was, and I had it formed in my mind before I started to say it, communications between people in the US regime and Russia. The gift from the past. Or is he going to gift treason, betrayal, because to bring justice? Remembering he was fired to bring justice. I think he is. And then you've got a whole difficult, burdensome, chaotic load of archived information. I think this is Signal Gate archived, to do with stealing of the truth, or just stealing, or the election steal. Because we've got then the star. This is my card for the vote flipping and the false victory. Action being taken, which allows action to be taken. Now, this is also my Rute card, but action to be taken in regards to this abuse of power. We've got Homeland Security, a wake-up call, something being gifted that's an absolute nightmare of a situation. Something being presented about money and looking at the sacrificial lamb. Now, remembering Waltz just got sacrificed. He's weighing up his options, but then you've got the illumination. I think Waltz, with a T, has the information that he's going to bring forward about certain people's connections, discussions with those in the Russian government. That's my feels given those cards. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I think he has archived the conversations they had. And I think those conversations are very possibly going to include information about the signing of the minerals deal, something that's going to happen in regards to the parade, and more, a lot more. So I wonder if he's been offered the UN position because they feel. See, I don't think that the others involved knew that he had actually saved them. They do now. I think he was offered the UN deal as a sweetener. But he now holds the cards. This is okay. I'm going to leave you there. I'm absolutely freezing. I'm going to go sit in front of the fire. Love to you all. Catch you tomorrow.